Hello and welcome to the Life and Love podcast, a conversation designed to help you have healthy relationships, become the person you truly want to be, and overall get the most out of life.
We're your hosts, Dominic and Emily Whitfield. Thank you so much for joining, and stay tuned as we learn and grow together. What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a great day today. We're really excited about today's episode. I know we have some big news coming up. We're going to be giving away the winner of the $50 Amazon gift card. And as you can probably tell, my better half is nowhere to be found today. She's actually going to join us in a few minutes to help give away this gift card. But before we do that, just wanted to say thank you so much for all the support, all the shout outs, all the love. You know, Emily and I are a little hesitant even doing something like this. This is kind of outside of our comfort zone, but we've just received so much love from you guys, and you've really made it special and fun for us. So thank you so much. Continue to spread the love. We really appreciate it. But today I actually get the privilege of talking to you one-on-one. We're going to chat a little bit about something near and dear to my heart, and being somebody that is terrible at administration, terrible at like time management and organization, anything that has to do with administration. I'm like seriously the worst. I'm so bad at it. You know, I'm the guy that likes to dream and you know, like talk about what cool things we could do in the future. But when it comes down to like doing the cool things we talk about, yeah, I'm not the guy for that. I don't know how to get there. I can just see it. I have no idea how to get there. So anytime I get an opportunity to learn and grow in that area of my life, I jump on it because I know how much I need it. So I want to share with you some tools and tips from this book that will really help you in your life administratively and organizationally. But this book is so incredible. Highly recommend all of you read it, listen to it if you like to listen to books. But it's a short book, easy read. It's called Manage Your Day to Day, Build Your Routine, Find Your Focus, and Sharpen Your Creative Mind. I know it's kind of a long title, but this book is really cool because it's written by maybe 10, 15 different authors, and everybody on that has contributed to this book is like a business leader, a creative artist, an entrepreneur, whatever field that you're in. It really covers it all, and they give tips and strategies on how to deal with life in the most efficient way. So we're going to actually talk a little bit about some things that are in this book. But yeah, it's like I said, it's an incredible book. So I want to read to you as we get into this. I want to read to you this story about a guy, an executive in this book. But really the idea of today's conversation and the end goal is to help you create a framework where you can do your most important work during the best hours of your day, right? We're going to talk a little bit about that, what that means, but you know, it's going to look different for everyone. And my goal is to help you get on the right track of creating a framework in your life where you're able to sit down and write that book, or you're able to sit down and start that business, or do the things that are really near and dear to your heart, because we all have these high goals and these aspirations, but it seems like they just stay far away and we never get a chance to really work on them. So this will hopefully help you create that framework to accomplish those things in your life. But I feel like I'm in kindergarten and I'm going to read you guys a story. So hopefully you don't feel that way. But just want to read a quick story coming out of this book. It says that Zeke is a creative director at a large agency. The workday he described when we first met was typical of the managers and leaders I meet in my travels. After 6 or 6.5 hours of sleep, which never feels like enough, Zeke's alarm went off at 5:30 a.m. each morning. His first move was to take his iPhone off the night table and check his email. He told himself he did this in case something urgent had come in overnight, but the truth was he just couldn't resist. Zeke tried to get to the gym at least 2 times a week, but he traveled frequently, and at home he was often just too tired to work out. Once he got to work around 7:30 a.m. most days, Zeke grabbed a cup of coffee, sat down at his desk, and checked his email again. By that time, 25 or more new messages were typically waiting for him in his inbox. If he didn't have any early meetings, he might be online for an hour or more without once looking up. Zeke's days were mostly about meetings. They were usually scheduled one after another with no time in between. As a result, he would race off to the next meeting without digesting what he'd just taken in at the last one. Lunch was something Zeke squeezed in. He usually brought food back to his desk from the cafeteria and worked while he ate. Around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, depending on how much sleep he'd gotten the previous night, Zeke began to feel himself fading. Yeah, I think we've all been there. We all can relate to that. Given his company's culture, taking even a short nap wasn't an option. Instead, for a quick hit of energy, he found himself succumbing to a piece of someone's leftover birthday cake or running to the vending machine for a Snickers bar. With so many urgent demands, Zeke tended to put off any intensive, challenging work for later. By the end of the day, however, he rarely had the energy to get to it. Even so, he found it difficult to leave work with so much unfinished business. By the time he finally did, usually around 7:30 or 8 p.m., he was pretty much running on empty. After dinner, Zeke tried to get some of the work he had put off earlier in the day. Much of the time, he simply ended up returning to email or playing games online. Either way, he typically stayed up later than he knew he should. How closely does this match your experience? To the extent that it does resonate, how did this happen? Most important, can you imagine working the way you do now for the next 10 or 20 years? You know, when I read that story, I immediately could relate to this guy named Zeke. Obviously, he's a top executive, and I'm not a top executive, and many of you probably aren't, but we all know that feeling of waking up in the morning, checking our email, checking our, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, or checking in with work and automatically getting all of these tasks, all of these assignments, and we start our day working on other people's problems, and we're never really able to get done the things that we need to get done during the day. So we're going to talk about how to create a structure in your life to help you get the things done you need to get done while also helping the people around you and making the wheel that you work in efficient and work well. But 2 things that we need to talk about before we really get into my work schedule. I'm going to share with you my specific schedule, and hopefully you can use that to build your own. But before we get into that, we have to understand 2 things that I've learned from this book. Really, really incredible insight. And the first thing is this, that you and I, our brains are not designed for these long marathon style work days. And what I mean by that is obviously we all know the traditional workday is set up about 8 hours a day. And our brain just doesn't have the capacity to focus for that long. Even as I'm talking and maybe you're listening in the car, you're cleaning the house, you're watching this on YouTube, whatever the case is, I'm sure you're probably getting distracted. You're probably on your phone, or you're probably walking around the house doing something else while you're listening to this. It's because us humans, we have a very short attention span. We can't sit and listen or watch or work or do something for these long extended periods. In fact, scientists have discovered that our brain operates and functions very efficiently in short bursts of hyper-focus, intense work. Now, I want you to think of it this way. We all know who Usain Bolt is. He's an incredible athlete, a very fast sprinter, top of his class, and we know that he set many world records, whatever the case is. But if Usain Bolt, if you were to take a world-class sprinter and put him in a marathon, well, the odds are he's going to finish, and he's probably going to beat the majority of the people in that marathon. Why? Because he's an incredible athlete, and he can get the job done. But he is not operating at his peak performance because he is not running the race designed for him to run. If you put him in the race that he was training for, that he's built for, he is going to thrive. And for many of us, yeah, we get through the day, we get it done, we get the job done, we make it happen. But man, how much more efficient would you be and how much more productive would you be if you allowed your brain to operate in the way that it was designed to operate? So that's the first thing we have to understand, is that we are designed for these quick bursts of sprint. The experts say that 60 to 90 minutes is kind of the optimal time that you should focus on one specific task. You should work on one specific thing. Anything longer, your brain begins to wander and you begin to lose focus. And anything shorter, you don't really have the time to complete anything. So they say 60 to 90 minutes is kind of the ideal zone. So that's the first thing that we have to understand. The second thing that we have to understand is that we have our brain has these peak performance times, these times during the day that you're operating at your best. I mean, I think it's no shocker here that when you sit at your desk for 8 hours, all 8 of those hours aren't equally productive, that you have times throughout the day that are more productive Then other times we see that in the story about Zeke, the story said that during the afternoon, Zeke got tired, and so he put off more of his intense, mentally challenging work, the things that he needed to get done as an executive, off to later in the day, and eventually never even got to them because he was so drained. So many of us, we spend our best hours working on other people's problems, and we never give ourselves the quality time that we need to get our job done. So as we talk about this, I want to take a couple of things into consideration. First thing I want to take into consideration, you might be listening or watching and saying, well, I don't think my boss is going to be okay with me completely rearranging my work schedule and telling him that I'm only working for this amount of time. I get it. I completely understand. Some of you may work for yourself and you might think, hey, this is really cool. Others of you might not be able to adjust your work environment too much, and that's fine. But the goal for this is to give you a framework that you can personalize for you that will help you benefit and help you get the most out of the time that you have. So those are the first two key things that we have to understand. Our efficiency ebbs and flows, right? Experts say that our most productive time is in the morning and at night is when we're most productive. It's when you do your best work. Right when you wake up, there's a few hours there, and then as you go to the afternoon, it kind of dips down. And I don't know about you, but after I eat lunch, I'm ready to take a nap. I'm ready to curl up in a nice ball and just not do anything else, right? We can get that way. So you have these peak performance times. And so it's important to spend your most important work during your most efficient time. One of the mistakes Zeke made is he checked his email right away, right? And so many of us do this. Our phone is the very first thing we grab whenever we wake up in the morning. We check our email, we check in with Facebook, with all of these different apps. We're connected instantly. And the problem is everybody has access to us. And everybody begins to pull on us, and so we start our day off working on other people's problems, and we spend the best part of our day working on other people's problems. So that's what we're going to try to avoid today. I'm going to quickly kind of run you through my schedule. Obviously, like I said, all the disclaimers, your schedule is not going to look like mine. You might not have the flexibility that I have or the ability to give certain hours and certain times of the day to things that I'm giving them to. Again, take this and use it as an example so that you can structure your life in a way that helps you get the most out of it. So my day starts at about 6:30, and again, I'm not great at this, so sometimes Riley will barge in our room and help me wake up, so graciously of her. But my day starts at 6:30, and I spend from 6:30 to 7:30, and that's my time with Jesus. I read my Bible, I pray, I worship. Kind of a side note here, if you're a Christian and you love the Lord, this is the most important thing that you can do. You can't start a day, you can't move on with the day without connecting with heaven, connecting with Jesus. So I'm going to encourage you to make sure that you have this scheduled in the beginning of your day, that every day you wake up, you touch heaven, you connect with Jesus, and then you move on. From 7:30 to 8:30, I have that kind of as a free time. So what I do there is I'll work out, I'll eat breakfast, take a shower, get ready for the day, all of those good things. At 8:30, my work day begins. Now, my schedule, with the way my schedule is made with my church, I work at a church, I'm a pastor at a church, we don't have to be in the office until 10:30. And so I have from 8:30 to 10, those 90 minutes to work on what's most important for me and my job. And so what I do is I'll come right here in my office, what you're seeing now, and I'll work on creating. That I like to title this block number 1, 90 minutes is your creating block. It's designed to help you reach those long-term goals, right? Man, I want to write a book. Well, guess what? Now you have 90 minutes to focus on writing every single day. Or, hey, my part of my job description is to look to the future, evaluate systems, and find improvements where I can find improvements, but I always spend my time managing tasks, and I never get to do that. This is a great time where you tune out all the noise. Remember, I don't touch my phone until after this block. This is reserved for very specific, hyper-focused work. A lot of the life and love stuff that you've seen recently is a result of this. I get to work on a little bit of life and love stuff In this time, I write my messages. A big part of my job as a pastor is to preach on Sundays. I have to come up with new things to talk about every single week. And those of you who are in ministry know that this isn't just a simple task. We're entrusted with communicating the word of God in a way that will have an impact on somebody's life. And oftentimes I find myself waiting and putting it off, just like Zeke did, putting it off for later in the week. And sometimes I don't get around to writing my message till like Friday or even Saturday. And I'm up late at night. That I've written messages at 2 a.m. before, trying to grind it out because I was just busy during the week. These are times where I do my most important work, like write a message. So you need to really protect this time. Don't allow other people to insert themselves in it. We don't do reactive things. We don't do administrative things. We're going to find their place a little bit later, but we give our best time to the things that are most important. So at 10 o'clock, I'm done. You remember, our minds only handle sprints. So for 90 minutes, I'm working. 10 o'clock, I'm done. Time to shut it down, stop writing your book, stop whatever you're doing in that moment, and shut it down. It's important as we look at this 90-minute sprint type of work environment that you put rest in between of every block. This book talks a lot about rest throughout the workday. Later on in Zeke's story, the guy that was giving Zeke advice told him, hey, you need to dial back your work hours, put some rest in there. And Zeke found out that even with less time working, he was more efficient because his brain was functioning better. And so basically from 10 o'clock to 10:30 is normally my commute to work. It's when I'm driving to work. That's when I open up my phone, check Facebook, log on to my email, do whatever I need to do. But I give that time to just let my brain relax and decompress from, that 90 minutes of work. And so going to work, 10:30, this is the administrative block. This is your administrative block. This is like, for some people, this is all 8 hours of your workday. And this is a pretty big mistake, right? So this is your administrative block. And what I mean by that are these are when you do the tasks that need to be done day to day in order to keep your business going, right? For example, for church, our big day is Sunday morning, right? That's our big business day. And so if we're not careful, oftentimes we can find ourselves only working on the things that will bear fruit this Sunday. How do we prepare for this Sunday? How do I make sure I'm ready for this week? And we get stuck in this rut of managing our Sunday or our day to day just to make it another day, and we never build anything for the future. We never build anything long term. So our creative block is focused on building long term, writing a book, creating a movie, creating new systems that are really going to make what we do or your employer more efficient and all that stuff. So 10:30 to noon is the administrative task. And one of the tips that this book gives, I thought it was brilliant. The guy said that take a 3x3 sticky note, and I don't have any with me, I'd show you, but a little sticky note, and write everything that you're going to do that day on the sticky note. And for some of you, that gives you anxiety because you can't fit all the things you need to do on a 3x3 sticky note. And that's the whole point. This guy, the author of the book, talks about how a lot of times we try to take on more in our day than we're actually able to do. And when you have 30 tasks that you're trying to knock out in a few hours, the reality is you're not going to get them all done. So you're going to leave work feeling underaccomplished and depressed because you didn't get anything done, or you'll get all 30 done and it'll be at a very poor quality because you had to rush through all of these things. So the idea is to write down on a 3x3 little note card all the things that you're going to get done that day. And if they don't fit, well, guess what? You prioritize it and you move it to the next day. And then you have 90 minutes. So I have 90 minutes of hyper-focused, intense time to work on the tasks that I need to work on. Tuesday mornings is a great example. We have staff meeting at 10:30. So at 10:30, it starts my administrative block. I know that every single Tuesday there's staff meetings. So these things should be pre-planned and predetermined by you. What these things shouldn't be is last-minute requests from your coworker 5 minutes before and say, hey, I need you to get that list for me. Okay, let me work on that. No. This is not the time for that. This should be a pre-planned, scheduled time where you work on the work that's important to you. For example, We have a meeting every single Tuesday. I know that part of my administrative block goes to the meeting, and then I work on different tasks for the rest of the time. This block is really important because this is kind of what keeps the wheels moving, right? And you have to be very firm with this. We work in a great environment. I love our working environment at Church on the North Coast. It's so much fun. But one of the cons to our work environment is that we have an open air office. So some of you that know what I'm talking about can relate. But everybody's sitting in one room on Tuesdays, and we're all trying to work together, and it's fantastic. We love being with one another, but one of the downsides is everybody's sitting really close to me. So if I need something, I can just reach over to so-and-so and say, hey, can you give me 5 minutes? And everybody's pulling everybody in. A lot of times it's hard to get focused work done because everybody's just there wanting your attention all the time. And so it's important that you really commit to doing the things that are on your schedule. And I know some of you have questions, well, what if my boss asked me to do this? And what if I need to go here? Obviously, like I said, like I gave all my disclaimers at the beginning, there are going to be situations and times where you need to break these rules or else you get fired. I don't want you to get fired. I'm just trying to help you maximize your efficiency. But making sure that you only do the tasks that you write down. Next, so that is till noon, right? And then after that, at noon to 12:30, I take my lunch break, making sure that, again, going back to that rest, you have that time to decompress, to focus, to let your mind kind of wander a little bit, and take a break from working. And then this is the cool part. So remember all of those emails I told you to ignore? Remember all the coworkers I told you to push aside? Well, this is where they come into play, right? This is the reactive block. So 12:30 to 2 o'clock is your reactive block. And this is a block designed for those last minute things that just come up and just happen during the day. Working at a church, I can fill my whole day with just reacting to other people's problems and other people's needs. And oftentimes I do, and that's why I find myself in sticky situations. And so this is 90 minutes where you can say, okay, I know there's going to be some things that come up today. I know I know so-and-so always asks me for this last minute. I know this is going to happen. I'm going to schedule time in my day to cater to these last minute requests and things like that. And so your reactive block is what you plan on doing with all of those, hey, I need this. Hey, get me this. Hey, get me that. And the way it's structured is really important because remember what we said about your attention span and how it ebbs and flows throughout the day. The beginning of your day, you're at your peak performance. After lunchtime, man, that is your worst time. You don't want to be spending your worst time on your most important work. You give your worst time, and this sounds terrible, you give your worst time to other people's problems. So many of us, we give our best time to other people's problems, and we try to facilitate our needs at our worst time. We have it completely backwards. We have to say, listen, I love you. I can't get that to you right now. Let me call you back in 2 hours when I've made time for you then. So structuring your life like this, structuring your workday like this will ultimately help you get more things done. It will keep you sane, and it'll give you energy, and it'll put the things that are important in the right place in your life. So we're getting ready to give our giveaway away, our $50 Amazon gift card. So I'm going to do some editing magic and have Emily join me right now. All right, everyone, finally time for the moment you have all been waiting for. We're getting ready to give away our $50 Amazon gift card. First off, thank you for everyone that entered.
That was awesome.
That was really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, always showing love. You guys are the best. Mm-hmm. Really cool. So why don't you hold this?
Okay.
And we are going, so we have everybody's name to sign with a number, and I've got my random number generator here, and we'll just do it once. I'm like nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous.
Just do it.
All right, drum roll. Give me a drum roll.
I can't do drum roll.
Please, let me see. Oh my gosh, okay, stop. That was terrible. Okay, and the winner is, who is that? Brandy Kessler, congratulations.
Yay!
You are our winner. So exciting. Hope you enjoy it. I know it's nothing huge, but thank you so much for spreading the love. I know, you can get everything from Amazon. It's like the best.
I have 5 packages on the way right now.
Yeah, I have a few too that you don't know about. Anyways, congratulations. Thank you so much for listening and supporting. Everybody, who shouted us out and supports the podcast. We really appreciate you guys. We love you very much. All right, now back to the regular scheduled programming. Awesome, Brandy. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. Everyone else who didn't win this time, thank you so much for participating and your support as well. We love you guys very much. To kind of wrap up this conversation as we're talking about these different blocks and these chunks of your day, I want to encourage everyone listening, watching, to evaluate your own life and see how this might fit for you in your schedule. Like I said at the beginning, you're not going to be able to copy and paste what I do every day to your work schedule. It might not work. You might end up getting fired because of it. Please don't get fired and blame me. That's my disclaimer to you. But there are some things that I think will really help you in that. I know I've had conversations with so many of you about aspirations and dreams and goals, and it seems like all of these big things that we want to do are so far away, and we never make any progress to them because we spend all of our good time on other things. And so I want to encourage you to create a framework around your life that you give your best moments to the most important things in your life. And listen, you're going to have to get really good at saying no to people. Sorry, I can't do that now. Sorry, I have to protect my time. I have to protect what's important to me. And listen, that is hard to do, but I'm telling you, it's the best thing that you can do, and it's the way that you can really be efficient and maximize your potential. So thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys. Looking forward to the next giveaway. We'll see you guys soon. And with that, we wrap up another great conversation. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next week.
As always, live right, love everyone, and pray hard.